Hello, and welcome to one of our last videos of the Food Fresh program, and it's another leftover inspiration, a frittata. This is a great way to use up all those odds and ends that usually get forgotten in the fridge. You're going to need a dozen eggs, a few vegetables of your choosing. Today we're going to use some peppers and broccoli, some bacon or any meat of your choosing, some cheese you really like, a bit of sour cream or any other high-fat dairy product, salt and pepper of course, and a bit of cooking oil. You're also going to need a baking pan of some sort. I'm going to start by chopping up all my vegetables, turning my broccoli into some nice little bite-sized pieces. I usually cut around the outside of the broccoli to get all the little florets loose, then cut them down the middle from the bottom to make them smaller. If you don't want to waste the stalk, you can use a vegetable peeler to shave off the tough exterior, then chop up the tender inside and add it in with your florets. Waste not, want not. For cutting peppers, I always chop the top and bottom off, then make one vertical slice down the side of the pepper just with the very tip of my knife. Then, I'll lay the pepper down on its side and go around the inside to cut the middle loose. I find this way doesn't break as many seeds loose, and you get one nice flat piece of pepper that makes it a lot easier to slice or dice. I'll also pop the little stem out of the top of the pepper rather than cutting around it, and just chop the top and bottom piece up to be the same size as the rest of it. This is the best way to cut a pepper in my humble opinion, because you get to use basically every part of it. Once you have your veggies chopped up, we're going to get our egg mixture ready. Start by cracking all 12 of your eggs into a nice big bowl. If you happen to have any shell fall into your bowl, the best way to get it out is with another shell. Just use one of your little shell halves to locate the rogue shell and scoop it up. After our eggs were cracked, we're going to whisk in our dairy product, whether it be sour cream, heavy cream, or a non-dairy cream if you like. Some sort of full-fat product to give this a nice creamy texture and taste. Also, make sure to throw a little salt and pepper in there to season your egg mixture. Now, we forgot to film me sauteing my bacon and vegetables, but just make sure you don't put any raw vegetables into the mixture. You want everything that's going in already cooked to get out all the spare juice. If you threw all your vegetables in raw, you'd end up with quite a watery, soggy, and soupy frittata, and nobody wants that. And of course, I cooked my bacon beforehand so I wouldn't have half-cooked bacon in my frittata. When you have your vegetables sauteed, let them cool down for a second so they don't cook the egg mixture when they go into the mix, and we'll add the cheese in while we wait. Make sure to save a little bit to put on top. Spoon in your mixed cooked veggies, and that's pretty much it for the frittata prep. We're going to grease this odd loaf pan I have here. You could use a casserole dish for this as well, or a more traditional loaf pan, or even muffin tins. Just make sure to adjust the baking time depending on the overall size of the dish you're making. I'm going to be making a few frittata muffins as well, just to show the different options. You could also use this mixture in a pie crust to make a quiche. Once you have your preferred vessel filled, sprinkle a little cheese over top, and she's ready to go into a 350-degree oven for 20-ish minutes for the muffins, and then about 40 to 45 minutes for the loaf pan or a larger casserole dish. There shouldn't be many instances that this has to bake for more than 45 minutes though. So now we have our baked frittata out of the oven, and we'll let it cool slightly before we cut it. Slice it into whatever shape you like. You can have it as a square or a wedge if you've baked it in a round pan. Serve as a breakfast or pack it for a lunch. This is a super great way to use up all those little bits and bobs of leftovers or trim bits from meals prior. So get creative and throw in whatever you'd like, try out some different combinations, and enjoy!